Every veteran has heard about tuition-covered education programs that accept GI Bill benefits, but what they don't tell you is that most veterans still end up paying thousands out of pocket. I've seen veterans get hit with technology fees, lab fees, graduation fees, proctoring fees, and other hidden costs that their benefits don't cover, and sometimes adding up to $5,000 or more. At Lakewood University, 99.2% of our veterans graduate completely debt-free. And in this video, I'm going to expose exactly what other schools are charging for and why most veterans don't see it coming. The fees schools bury in fine print. One of the hidden ones is proctoring fees. These are charges just to have someone monitor you while you're taking an online exam. They might only be $30 to $50 a test, but if you're taking multiple classes every semester, that adds up fast. Then there are lab fees, and here's the crazy part. A lot of schools charge them even if you're an online program. You're not even stepping foot into a physical lab, but somehow you're still paying for one. And it doesn't stop there. When it's time for you to graduate, you'll probably get hit with a graduation fee just to process your diploma. Want a copy of your transcript? Yep, that usually comes with an exorbitant fee as well. Add on things like student activity fees, record processing fees, and other random charges, and suddenly your fully covered program isn't so covered anymore. These little fees add up fast, and because they're not always labeled as tuition, a lot of times the GI Bill doesn't cover them, which means you end up pulling money out of your pocket. Let's talk about how some schools get around GI Bill coverage, because this is something most veterans don't find out until it's too late. One of the biggest tricks is how schools classify costs. If they can call a charge non-tuition, the VA won't cover it. So instead of rolling everything in tuition, they break it into extra line items that you end up paying out of pocket. Books are another example. Even though the post 9/11 GI Bill gives you a book stipend, a lot of schools require book packages or digital access codes that go well over that allowance. So you're stuck covering the difference yourself. And then there are program fees. These fees can be anything from lab fees to special course fees, but because they're not technically labeled as tuition, the VA doesn't see them as covered. This means more money out of your pocket. It's little loopholes like these that schools use to say, oh yes, your GI Bill covers your tuition, while quietly stacking up charges on the side that aren't included. And that's why so many veterans are surprised when they still end up with a bill after enrolling. Let's talk about one of the biggest tricks schools pull on veterans: the enrollment bait and switch. Here's how it works. When you're in the recruiting stage, they give you a nice, neat estimate. Everything sounds covered. But once you're actually enrolled, those numbers start to change. Suddenly, there are new fees, extra charges, or classes you have to retake that weren't even mentioned before. And the reason schools don't mention these fees up front is simple. If they did, a lot of vets wouldn't sign up. So they wait until you're already committed, and that's when the real costs come out. By that time, most veterans figure out what's really going on, and it's too late. If you try to transfer, you risk losing credits, which means losing both time and benefits you've already used. So you're stuck paying the extra cost just to finish what you started. That's why it's so important to ask the right questions before you enroll, so you don't get caught in bait and switch. Now, here's where Lakewood's approach is totally different from a lot of other schools. First, our pricing model is very transparent. We design our programs to work within the GI Bill limits, so you're not getting surprised by costs that push you over your benefits. Before you enroll, we evaluate all of the costs up front. That way you know exactly what's covered and what's not. No guessing, no games, no hidden fees. We also put a big focus on military credit evaluation. That means we look at your training and your experience right away to see what transfers. The more credits we can apply, the less time you spend in class and fewer benefits you burn through. That alone can save you months, sometimes even years of eligibility. Another big difference, you don't have to wait around for semester start dates. At Lakewood University, you can start any Monday. That means you can move forward on your schedule and not the school's. And from day one, every veteran gets a dedicated success coach. That is someone who's with you all the way through graduation, making sure you've got the support you need, both academically and personally. So between transparent pricing, credit for your military training, training, flexible start dates, and one-on-one support, we've built Lakewood to take the stress out of going back to school, especially for veterans. One of the things that we're most proud of at Lakewood University is that 99.2% of our graduates graduate completely debt-free. Let me walk you through how we make that possible. It starts with proper benefit planning. We map out your GI Bill or other funding upfront so that there are no surprises along the way. When you know exactly what's covered before you start, you don't end up with hidden bills later. Next, we use a career assessment to match you with the right program before you even enroll. That way, you're not wasting your time or benefits on classes that don't align with your career goals. Then once you're in, you got a success coach on your side from day one. Their job is to make sure you stay on track and avoid costly academic setbacks like dropping classes, retaking courses, or slipping below full-time status. And the best part, the entire admissions process only takes about 30 minutes on your very first call. It's simple, it's clear, it sets you up to graduate without debt hanging over your head, and that's how we achieved 99.2% debt-free graduation at Lakewood University. If you want to speak with our admissions team about enrollment and see how we design your complete education around the GI Bill benefits you have, including success coach assignment and transfer credit evaluation, click the first link below for a 30-minute admissions consultation. Let me give you a real comparison example because this is where the difference really shows up. We had a veteran who started at another school and thought his GI Bill would cover everything. But once he got into his classes, he discovered thousands of dollars in hidden fees, things like proctoring charges, lab fees, and even course materials that weren't covered by his book stipend. By the time he realized, he was already enrolled and stuck paying out of pocket. That's exactly why program design matters. At Lakewood, we built everything to fit within the GI Bill limits from the start. That means no surprise charges, no extra fees stacked up on top of what you're already paying, and no gotcha bills halfway through your program. And that's why so many veterans choose us after comparing total costs. When they put our numbers side by side with another school, they see the difference. No hidden fees, proper credit evaluation, and a clear path to graduating debt-free. It's not just about covering tuition. It's about making sure every piece of the puzzle is covered so you can focus on your education while not worrying about surprise bills. Before you commit to enroll at any school, there are 3 questions you absolutely need to ask, and the answers will tell you right away if they're being upfront with you or not. The first one is, what are all the fees not covered by my GI Bill benefits? If they hesitate or give you a vague answer, that's a red flag. Second, ask, can you give me the total cost in writing before I enroll? A good school should have no problem putting that down on paper. If they can't, it usually means there are hidden costs waiting for you down the road. And the third, ask, what happens if my benefits don't cover everything? This one exposes whether they'll work with you to close the gap or if they're planning to leave you holding the bill. If a school can't answer these 3 questions clearly and confidently, that's your sign to keep looking. Graduating debt-free comes down to choosing a school that's designed around your benefits instead of one that nickel and dimes you. Don't be the veteran who discovers hidden costs after it's too late to switch schools without losing credits and time. So if you want a transparent breakdown of exactly what your education will cost with 0 hidden fees, click the link below to learn more.